Indistractable: How to Control Your Attention and Choose Your Life by Eyal, 2019. Part 1. Master Internal Triggers. You must understand that distraction is not caused by technology alone, but by the discomfort you are trying to escape. Most people blame their devices, but Eyal reveals that the true culprit is your own mind, which seeks relief from uncomfortable sensations like boredom, anxiety, or loneliness. All motivation is a desire to escape discomfort, and if a behavior was previously effective at providing relief, you will continue using it as a tool to escape pain. The root cause of distraction is internal, and until you learn to master your internal triggers, no amount of external blocking will save you. You cannot call something a distraction unless you know what it is distracting you from, which is why clarity about your intentions must come first. You need to recognize that time management is actually pain management, and the discomfort you feel is your brain's natural response to challenge. Humans are wired with a negativity bias that makes you pay more attention to threats than opportunities. And this served your ancestors well, but now leaves you scanning for problems that technology eagerly solves with distraction. The 4 psychological factors that make satisfaction temporary are boredom, negativity bias, rumination, and hedonic adaptation. Dissatisfaction is your brain's default state, and understanding that feeling bad isn't actually bad, but exactly what survival intended, helps you stop running from discomfort. When you accept that pain is inevitable and that distraction is just an unhealthy escape, you can begin to address the real source. You can manage distractions from within by changing how you think about them rather than trying to suppress them. Suppression backfires because the more you tell yourself not to think about something, the more you think about it. The 4 steps to cope with urges begin with looking for the discomfort that precedes the distraction, focusing on the internal trigger rather than the distracting behavior. Second, write down the trigger, noting the time, what you were doing, and how you felt when the urge arose. Third, explore your sensations with curiosity rather than contempt, riding the urge like a wave without either pushing it away or acting on it. Fourth, beware of liminal moments, those transitions between activities where you are most vulnerable to distraction, and use the 10-minute rule to surf the urge until it passes. You must reimagine the task itself by turning it into play, finding the variability and novelty in what you are doing. Fun and play do not have to make you feel good in the traditional sense. They can be tools to keep you focused by paying such close attention that you discover new challenges you did not see before. Those new challenges provide the novelty to engage your attention and maintain focus when tempted by distraction. The cure for boredom is curiosity, and you can deliberately look for the hidden beauty and complexity in any task, from mowing the lawn to writing a report. By focusing intently and searching for variability, you transform work into a playground where distraction has no place. You must reimagine your temperament and the stories you tell yourself about your willpower. The concept of ego depletion, which suggests that willpower is a finite resource that runs out, may be more about belief than biology. If you believe your willpower is limited, you will experience depletion. If you see willpower as an emotion that ebbs and flows based on how you feel, you gain more control. Labeling yourself as having poor self-control actually leads to less self-control, so you must change the way you talk to yourself. Practice self-compassion by talking to yourself the way you would talk to a friend, and remember that you are only powerless if you think you are. Everyone struggles with distraction, and taking responsibility without self-criticism builds resilience. Part 2. Make time for traction. You must turn your values into time by creating a schedule template that reflects what truly matters to you. Most people protect their possessions with locks and security systems, but do little to protect their time. Yet time is your most non-renewable resource. Without a plan, You will default to whatever demands your attention in the moment, and others will choose how you spend your life. Time boxing is the practice of deciding in advance what you will do and when you will do it, then sticking to that schedule. By filling your calendar with boxes representing your priorities, you create a blueprint for each day that makes traction visible and distraction obvious. You need to control the inputs rather than obsessing over outcomes, because you cannot control results, but you can control what you do each day. Schedule time for yourself first, treating your own well-being as non-negotiable, because if you are not operating at your best, everything else suffers. This includes time for exercise, reflection, and activities that recharge you. When you plan the inputs, the actions within your control, the outcomes will follow naturally. Your calendar becomes a record of your true priorities, and by looking at how you spend your time, you see what you actually value rather than what you claim to value. You must schedule time for important relationships, treating them with the same seriousness as business meetings. Relationships do not thrive on spontaneity alone. They require deliberate investment of attention and presence. Include household responsibilities and time with people you love on your calendar, because what gets scheduled gets done. Put regular time with friends and family into your schedule template, protecting it from encroachment by less important demands. When you schedule time for relationships, you signal to yourself and others that they matter, and you ensure that distraction does not steal the moments that make life meaningful. You need to sync your schedule with stakeholders at work and home to prevent conflicts and build support for your focus. Share your calendar with colleagues and explain your time boxing approach, showing them when you are available for collaboration and when you need uninterrupted focus. When people understand your system, they are more likely to respect it, and you can negotiate mutual agreements about communication norms. Syncing schedules also helps you coordinate with your partner and family, ensuring that your time for traction aligns with their needs and that you are present when they need you most. Part 3. Hack back external triggers. You must ask the critical question about every external trigger. Is this trigger serving me, or am I serving it? External triggers are cues in your environment that tell you what to do next, from phone notifications to email alerts to colleagues stopping by your desk. Some triggers lead to traction, helping you accomplish what you intend, but many lead to distraction, pulling you away from your priorities. You need to evaluate each trigger honestly and eliminate those that do not serve you. The goal is not to live without external triggers, but to ensure that the ones in your life are working for you. You can defend your focus at work by signaling when you do not want to be interrupted. Use do not disturb signs, wear headphones, and communicate your availability clearly to colleagues. Create rituals around focus time that let others know you are not to be disturbed, and agree on protocols for emergencies that require interruption. When you make your focus visible and respected, you reduce the external triggers that fragment your attention. Remember that you teach people how to treat you, and by consistently protecting your focus, you train others to respect it. You can hack back email by sending fewer emails, because the less you send, the less you receive. Each email you send invites a response, and each response demands your attention. When you do check email, tag each message with when it needs a reply, rather than responding immediately, and batch your responses at scheduled times. This prevents email from becoming a constant interruption and puts you in control of when you engage. Unsubscribe from newsletters you never read, and use filters to sort incoming messages so that only the most important reach your primary attention. You need to hack back group chat by getting in and out at scheduled times rather than staying perpetually connected. Group chat tools like Slack are designed for continuous engagement, but you can use them on your terms. Only involve people who are necessary for each conversation, and resist the temptation to use chat for thinking out loud when asynchronous communication would serve better. Schedule specific times to check and contribute to group chat and leave the rest of your day for focused work. The goal is to use these tools without letting them use you. You must hack back meetings by making them harder to call and more effective when they happen. No agenda, no meeting. Because without a clear purpose and structure, meetings become black holes for time. Meetings should be for consensus building rather than problem solving, with decisions made beforehand and meetings used to align on next steps. Leave devices outside the conference room except for one laptop for taking notes, ensuring that everyone present is actually present. Challenge every recurring meeting and question whether each attendee truly needs to be there, because every hour in a meeting is an hour not spent on your most important work. You can hack back your smartphone by using distracting apps on your desktop rather than your phone, because the phone is always with you while the computer stays put. Organize your apps so that the most distracting ones require extra steps to access, and turn off all non-essential notifications. Use Do Not Disturb mode liberally, especially during times you have scheduled for focus. By making your phone less engaging, you reduce the pull of external triggers and reclaim your attention for what matters. You need to hack back your desktop by turning off all notifications and removing potential distractions from your workspace. Disable notifications on your computer to ensure you won't get distracted by external triggers while doing focused work. Keep only what you need for your current task visible and hide everything else. Your physical environment shapes your attention, so arrange your workspace to support traction and resist distraction. Every object in your field of view either helps you focus or competes for your attention. You can hack back online articles by saving them to Pocket or a similar read later service, then reading or listening to them at scheduled times. This practice, called multi-channel multitasking, allows you to consume content during activities like commuting or exercising, rather than during time you should be focused. By separating the discovery of content from its consumption, you prevent articles from interrupting your flow while still gaining their benefits. Schedule time for reading and stick to it, treating it as part of your traction rather than as a distraction from your priorities. You can hack back feeds by using browser extensions that give you the benefits of social media without all the distractions. Remove news feeds, suggested content, and algorithms designed to keep you scrolling. And use tools that strip away everything but the content you actually want. By controlling what you see and when you see it, you reclaim your attention from platforms engineered to capture it. The goal is not to abandon social media, but to use it on your terms, for your purposes, without losing hours to mindless scrolling. Part 4. Prevent distraction with Pacts. You must use the power of pre-commitment to make distraction impossible, rather than relying on willpower alone. Pacts are agreements you make with yourself in advance that constrain your future behavior, and they are the antidote to impulsiveness because they remove the need for in-the-moment decisions. When you plan ahead for situations where you are likely to get distracted, you can design your environment and commitments to make traction automatic. The 3 types of pacts are effort pacts, price pacts, and identity pacts, each working through different mechanisms to keep you on track. You can prevent distraction with effort pacts that make unwanted behaviors more difficult to perform. By increasing the friction required to engage in distraction, you give yourself time to reconsider and often prevent the behavior entirely. Examples include keeping your phone in another room while working, using apps that block distracting websites, or placing unhealthy foods out of reach. When distraction requires significant effort, you will choose traction simply because it is easier. The key is to make the path of least resistance also the path of traction. You can prevent distraction with price pacts that make getting distracted expensive, either financially or through some other cost you care about. Commitment devices like Stick.com allow you to put money on the line, donating to a cause you hate if you fail to meet your goals. When distraction has a price, you think twice before indulging. The cost does not have to be financial. It can be social, where you publicly commit to a goal and risk embarrassment if you fail. Whatever price you choose, Make it meaningful enough to motivate you when temptation strikes. You can prevent distraction with identity pacts that pre-commit you to a self-image that is incompatible with distraction. When you call yourself indistractable, you make a statement about who you are, and humans are wired to act consistently with their identity. Identity pacts work because they change how you see yourself, and once you believe you are the kind of person who follows through, distraction becomes a violation of your self-concept. Tell yourself and others that you are indistractable, and you will find yourself behaving in ways that confirm this identity. Part 5. How to make your workplace indistractable. You must recognize that an always-on culture drives people crazy, and that distraction at work is a symptom of dysfunctional company culture. When employees are constantly interrupted, when responsiveness is valued more than results, and when focus is impossible, the problem is not individual weakness, but systemic failure. The root cause is often a culture lacking psychological safety, where people feel they must be available at all times to prove their value. Until you address the cultural norms that reward distraction, individual efforts to focus will be undermined by the environment. You need to understand that tech overuse at work is a symptom, not the disease, and that fixing distraction requires addressing the underlying culture. Psychological safety, the belief that you can speak up, take risks, and be yourself without fear of punishment, is essential for focus, because when people feel safe, they do not need to constantly signal their availability. Create a culture that values doing focused work by starting small and facilitating open dialogue among colleagues about the problem. When everyone acknowledges that distraction is an issue, you can collectively design solutions rather than blaming individuals. You can build an indistractable workplace by implementing changes that support focus for everyone. Establish norms around communication, such as no email after certain hours or asynchronous communication for non-urgent matters. Designate focus hours when no meetings are scheduled and interruptions are discouraged. Lead by example, with managers protecting their own focus and encouraging their teams to do the same. When the workplace supports indistractability, productivity and satisfaction increase, and the best talent wants to stay. Part 6. How to raise indistractable children, and why we all need psychological nutrients. You must avoid convenient excuses that blame technology for your children's distraction, and instead look for root causes. Children get distracted for the same reasons adults do. They are escaping discomfort. Your job is not to eliminate screens, but to teach your children the 4-part indistractable model so they can manage themselves. When you understand why they turn to devices, you can address the underlying needs rather than just fighting symptoms. You need to ensure your children's psychological needs are met, because all people need to feel a sense of autonomy, competence, and relatedness. If children do not get these needs met in the real world, they will look to fulfill them online, where games and social media offer feelings of control, mastery, and connection. Help your children find offline activities that satisfy these needs, and talk with them about what they are really seeking when they turn to screens. When psychological nutrients are present in real life, the pull of virtual substitutes weakens. You can teach children to time-box their schedule by letting them make time for activities they enjoy, including time online. When children have ownership over their schedule, they learn to balance different priorities and experience the satisfaction of choosing how to spend their time. Work with them to create a schedule template that includes schoolwork, chores, play, and screen time, and let them experience the natural consequences of their choices. The goal is not to control them, but to equip them with skills they will use for life. You must work with your children to remove unhelpful external triggers, making sure they know how to turn off notifications and create environments that support focus. Most importantly, do not become a distracting external trigger yourself by interrupting them during focus time. Respect their attention the way you want yours respected, and model indistractable behavior by putting your own phone away when you are with them. Children learn more from what you do than from what you say. You need to help your children make pacts and understand that managing distraction is their responsibility. Teach them that distraction is a solvable problem and that becoming indistractable is a lifelong skill they can develop. Let them experience small failures and learn from them, offering guidance without rescuing. When children internalize that they are in control of their attention, they build confidence and competence that will serve them in every area of life. Part 7. How to have indistractable relationships. You must spread social antibodies among friends by creating norms that protect attention in social settings. When someone uses a device in your presence, you can ask, "I see you are on your phone. Is everything okay?" This question expresses care rather than judgment and invites reflection on whether the distraction is necessary. By gently calling attention to device use, you help friends notice behavior they might otherwise miss, and you create a culture where being present is valued. Social norms are powerful, and you can help shape them in your circles. You need to be an indistractable lover by protecting your intimate relationships from the intrusion of devices. Remove phones from your bedroom and have the internet automatically turn off at a specific time, creating sacred space for connection. When you are with your partner, be fully present, giving them the gift of your undivided attention. Distraction takes a toll on even the most intimate relationships, and the cost of being able to connect with anyone in the world is that you might not be fully present with the person physically next to you. Your relationships depend on your becoming indistractable, because attention is the most precious gift you can give. To show love and appreciation, like, share, and subscribe.